It's like they took Mineta from My Hero Academia, made 3 of him, and had them all play off of each other.
It is. Oh god, it is.
That's like Bachigu as a nutshell. 10 times of Mineta right there.
Yeah.
For all you modern anime fans.
Yeah, y'all think Mineta is bad. Go back and watch Green Green.
With a splash of tension.
Mineta's an angel compared to these.
きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 95 of the Annie Chat Box. Today I am here as your host for the very first time.
Woo!
Which is probably pretty bad.
Oh, come on.
So my name is Dominic. To my immediate right is the producer of our podcast, Cassie.
Hello.
Immediately in the next room is Craig, who does all the work.
What's up, everyone? I do all the work. Am I a producer at this rate?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we both are.
Okay.
And then on the other side of the country, we have Cammy.
Hey, what's up, homies? It's your young kawaii G, Cammy with a gangsta lean.
Oh, I love it.
Can you introduce yourself that way every time?
Sure.
Or some variation of it?
Sure. I mean, that's specifically for Paul, who we will mention later.
And across the ocean in the UK, we have John.
Hello. I've got nothing compared to that intro from Cammy.
Just rap, John. You could do it.
Just say a bunch of really British things.
Oh, perfect.
You've got an accent.
Yeah,
Use
just do the
that.
British
That's the
thing.
one thing you have that we don't. Actually, John, say the most British thing that comes to your mind right now.
I have tea.
I have tea.
I'll take it.
And now we'll move on to our social links. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/AnnieChatbox. You can also send us an email at anniechatmail@gmail.com. We have our episodes uploaded on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and YouTube for anyone who prefers to use a specific platform. We are Patreon. You can find us on Patreon.
We are Patreon.
We are Patreon.
We are Patreon.
We are.
We are Patreon. Da 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 da.
Do, do, do.
Our Patreon is patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. Speaking of our Patreon, shout outs to our patrons, Sarah, CorpsyAnn, Carol, Suki, and our new patron, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. You were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout outs to the Korean barbecue. He did all the work.
He really did. He did all of the work at the Korean barbecue. We got to the point where Zach had to intervene, and he actually admitted later on the only reason he intervened is because he was scared Paul wouldn't eat anything.
Aw. Oh, Zach is so good.
Zach is pretty good. He's
Speaking
a pretty good.
of Zach and Paul.
Oh!
What?
That transition. I'm so proud.
Speaking of Zach and Paul, and I guess Craig, who is also here.
What's up?
You can also find all three of those wonderful gentlemen over at Save Our Progress, another podcast of interesting individuals talking about entertainment.
Mhm.
I
Pete's
guess
there too.
Pete's there too.
Pete's there too, I guess.
They talk about, they used to talk about video games. Now they just talk about nerd stuff.
Whatever the fuck we want,
And-
really.
Yeah, whatever they want. So yeah, that's all that out of the way. Today, we do not have a main topic. We are only doing a review. And our review today is is it 2003 anime Green Green. That was not is not obviously not like a anybody's like pick or anything. This was a request from an anonymous anonymous listener. But yeah, Green Green is a joke, and nobody was in on the joke, which is why we're reviewing it today.
I mean, how would you know it was a joke? Did you speak with the anonymous viewer?
No, I just know because it's Green Green.
Remember, Dom's good friends with the anonymous. Right?
Yeah, I'm good friends
Sent
with
from my iPhone.
Sent from my
iPhone. The only people who were in on the joke is, I guess, Suki, who has also seen the show, and possibly Zach. I don't.
Yeah.
Zach hasn't seen the show, but
Zach hasn't seen the show, but I'm sure he knows.
Zach knows
a bit about it.
Zach knows.
Yeah. So, Green Green was made by Studio Matrix. They've only done like 2 other shows, they did the porn OVA sequel to Green Green, Green Green 13 Aerolutions. They did UG Star Ultimate Girls, and Anne No Acelia, which until literally 20 minutes ago I had never heard of the other 2 shows.
And the other 2 shows actually have worse ratings than Green Green.
Yeah, so Green Green is Studio Matrix magnum opus.
And then they stopped after that.
No, the other 2 shows came after Green Green.
Well, fuck.
So it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, downward spiral.
God damn it.
So the synopsis is as follows. Kananone Gakuen is an all-male boarding school located in the countryside of Japan. Although an all-male school is nothing new, life can become quite difficult when there are no female students for miles around. In order to help the psychological health of everyone involved, the school board has decided to try and merge with the nearest all-girl boarding school in order to become co-ed. The boys of Kananone are more than thrilled at the prospect, and the girls are curious as to how interesting school life might become if there were more boys around. Before any serious decisions are made, the girls have been invited to stay at Kananone for 1 month as a test. Green Green follows Yusuke Takazaki and his naughty roommates called the Baka, parentheses, idiot. Baka means idiot in Japanese, by the way, trio. And their ability to talk to the girls without making complete fools of themselves. But as soon as the school bus with girls arrives, things become weird, hormonal, and hysterical in particular. A girl named Midori Chitose leaps off the bus and immediately embraces a very confused Yusuke. Is he a natural ladies' man, or do the 2 of them have a very shared history that he is not aware of? So that's the synopsis, courtesy of My Anime List. Shoutouts to My Anime List. So I, or rather, sent from my iPhone, requested this show as a joke, and I've watched this show before because my friend Tyler, not sure if he will ever listen to this podcast, shoutouts to Tyler, made me watch it as a joke. Because we used to do this thing where we would switch off, like, I would watch something bad and then he would watch something bad. And so this was one of the few shows that I watched when we would do that was pretty bad. So yeah, just giving that little bit of background info as to how this actually came to be and why I've actually seen this before. But let's get to the story.
So I have a quick question for us to ponder. Does anybody watch this show for anything but as a joke? Like, does anybody not watch this as a joke?
So, maybe. I know a guy from high school, one of mine and Zach's friends, who actually owns or at least did own Green Green on DVD.
What?
So I'm sure it did get a US release.
Yeah.
So
that in itself is another question of philosophical doubt and the hope that I have in the world.
But think about this. There's things like The Room.
Yeah.
That are also widely
Mar.
popular.
Oh my God.
And a joke.
This is the room of
And
anime.
you just make...
I mean,
this is The Room, the anime.
I don't know if I'd consider Green Green on the same level of The Room.
No, you're right. The Room actually made me laugh.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, Green Green makes me laugh, but...
I got a question. Out of all of now that we watched it, are we all in on the joke now?
No, I think I just made people mad.
Okay, rephrasing. Are me and you on the joke, and the rest of them are not?
I think me and you are in on the joke. I don't think everyone else is.
What's the joke? What was there that I was supposed to laugh at? Okay, so there we go. Let's start with story. Okay, so this is supposed to be, I guess, a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At its core, that's what it's supposed to be. So if we're gonna take this review seriously, which I'm gonna do my best to try and do.
Good luck with that one.
I brought this up with Cammie on the side, and I wanted to have this like small conversation about this. But this anime is a result of being an adaptation of a hentai game.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's not like hentai games can't be adapted and be good.
Mhm.
F A Tale of Memories, Melodies, those were hentai games that were great. There's also the Air game
Mhm.
that was turned into a really beautiful anime.
Mhm.
Same with Canon. So you can have porn games. I mean, hell, Fate! Fate
Yep.
is a porn game.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
Yeah, sex sells, man.
So you have these games that have sex as a part of it that can be adapted into a anime series that I'm supposed to take seriously, or at least watch and be like, okay, I can get something out of this. On the flip side, there are also hentai games that are purposely for sex. That's it. That's all they're there for. And if you take the sex out, it becomes nothing. So, for example, Euphoria, it's a hentai. Why? Because if you take all the sex out of it, you lose the story, for one, and two, you take away everything that makes it interesting and weird. You have things like, I'm really putting myself on blast right here.
You are revealing a lot.
But, like, for example, I also beta tested Kura Inu, which is a very violent and, I actually didn't even really like it very much game. But I also watched the hentai for it, and let me tell you, it's a trip. But the thing is, those work as hentai, because they know what they are and they stay that way. They took the sex, I'm assuming, out of this game, and there's nothing left except for a really badly put together, shoved in plot that kind of shows up at the beginning, sort of, and sort of comes back up at the end. And then people who are just there to be either sexually harassed or be the sexual harassers.
Mhm.
Like, that's it. And that doesn't make for a good, concrete story or an adaptation of a game. Granted, I've never played the Green game, so feel free to write us if you have personally played.
I don't think anyone here has.
Who knows? Maybe we'll have one listener who's like, yeah, I imported and played that game. Or something.
They've gone above
But
and
the
beyond.
point I'm making is, even though I've never played the Green game, I know that H games can be adapted to make a good product. And when they do, they have to decide, do I make this an actual anime with a story, or do I make it porn? And Green would have just been better as porn.
Yeah.
That's the point I was getting to.
Yeah. And I agree completely. I feel like Green taking out the porn does something that I found very similar in Kiss X Sis, where it just abandons like straight up porn, but then it gets into like even weirder, creepier, gross, like weird fetish stuff that is somehow a lot more disgusting than just watching the pro tag fuck every girl that's on screen.
Yep.
Like it. You know, and in Kiss X Sis, I didn't mind, like, maybe 75% of their weird fetish shit, but, like, I could not handle a lot of the weird gross out scenes in this show. Like, I told Cassie, and Dom, actually, when we were watching a lot of the show together, I was saying, I have food with me, and I would like to eat my dinner first, because for some reason, I feel a sense of disgust when I watch this show, and then Dom and Cassie are like, I wonder why. And so we made sure that I never ate food while watching the show because I'm sure I would have lost it.
One thing we did do, though, is drink copious amounts of alcohol.
We did.
You did. I didn't.
Nah,
I'm
me
watching
and
the
Dom
second
were
half.
just fine in the background.
And by we, I mean me and kind of Cammie.
Yes. Yeah, we drank to get through it.
I would have joined in, but I had work.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Green can be more enjoyable when it is when you're under the influence. It also can be better when it is porn, which we figured out when we watched the last OVA episode, which was the best episode in the show, and was still bad. It was still so very bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't agree. I'm gonna give it to bear rape, but that's just me.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's a thing.
Either bear rape or sweaty male orgy.
Yes.
Really, really hard toss up.
Yep.
But
Those are two things that do occur in the show. Trigger warning for those of you who out there who may be willing to watch Green as a quote-unquote joke, be prepared to possibly be grossed out. Some people might find it funny. I didn't.
Yeah.
Also, if you are somebody who watches and tends to lean towards feminist views, you may also be heavily offended while watching the show. Here's the thing, though. Like, I can watch an ecchi show and be fine. But this show, like, it's just gross. Like, it's not even funny. It's not even like, oh, tee-hee, it's anime. It's just, this is the worst that anime can be.
I mean,
This is the worst that a show can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think about this show and when I think about like that time when you say to someone or it comes out that you watch anime and someone's really judgmental and they're just like, "Oh, anime, all the bad like stipulations that they have with anime." That's Green. It's just a compilation of all the shitty, terrible stipulations about anime wrapped into one 12-episode anime.
With a little bow on top. That's probably covered in sweat.
Ew.
Bringing on another actual point and bringing us back to, I guess, me not ranting, but actually having kind of a critical point. The show's supposed to be a romantic comedy, which I pointed out earlier, but they don't put a lot of emphasis on trying to make that the point of the show. It only really shows up kind of at the beginning, and then the main couple, of course, being Yusuke and Midori. Midori and him do not even really interact outside of small gags until close to the end of the show. Also, at the beginning of the show, they try to set up kind of a love triangle between him, Futaba, and Midori. There's actually a nice moment between Futaba and Yusuke that I enjoyed. It's ruined like 3 minutes later because the Baka trio comes back on the fucking screen. But they do have the potential to like build these little tiny story pieces, but then that entirely is put on hold and then is brought up again at the end of the show for needless drama that doesn't even technically get resolved until the porn episode.
Yeah.
So story-wise, it's just not very good, and even in its genre, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is making you care. Like, they try and make it to be that Yusuke is the main character of the show, but the Baka trio shows up way more than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like they're the main characters.
Yeah.
And I hate that. John, you haven't talked a whole lot. How do you feel about the story of Green, if there is one at all?
With regards to the plot that comes up, like, as you mentioned, at the start and then at the end and nothing in the middle, I was just like, why couldn't this have been a more substantial thing throughout the entire thing? And yeah, there was some nice moments between Yusuke and Futaba, but again, yeah, they all quickly got ruined because the Baka trio came up, because they were the worst thing about this series, and they were the focus of the series, despite the fact that they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, it seems like the show abandoned having a plot for the sake of shoving as many gags as possible as they could put in there.
It's just one of those things where it's like, it's a comedy at the end of the day. It's not romantic. It's just a comedy. But the thing is that comedy is super subjective, and I'll put that out there. Sure, comedy is super subjective. Who is this appealing to?
Mhm.
Degenerates.
Who? Like, who thought that this was a good idea?
Degenerates.
Like, I get that we're, like, looking at it and we're like, ah, ha, ha, it's so bad. But there was actually a group of people that got together and said, you know what would make a great anime? This. Let's storyboard this.
Okay, well, to be fair, this was made in the early 2000s. And
Yes.
the early 2000s are like the dark age of anime.
I mean, that's fair.
Harems at the wazoo.
Yeah, harems out the wazoo. Just a lot of really bad animation.
Trying to
and
discover
just
what
it's
formats
moving
are.
into because anime at the beginning of the 2000s, anime had moved into the digital age, and everybody was still getting used to making anime with this new format. So a lot of stuff was fucking bad, and Green is kind of like the culmination of everything that was kind of sort of happening spread out during that period of anime, all into one little pack.
Also, thinking back on it, I think a lot of the anime adaptations of porn games were around the early 2000s as well.
Yep.
Like a untapped market they were trying to get into at that point.
I mean, I know we'll probably talk about this in production, but I'm just happy that this show went, hey, let's try CGI tears. And then somebody said, let's never do that again. And hopefully it never showed up again. I don't know if it did or not,
I'm sure
but
you
God.
can find it somewhere.
It happened.
Oh, God, it was terrible.
It happened twice in this series.
It happened more than twice.
Yeah,
I remembered
It happened
anyway.
quite a few times.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not even actually talking about the story when I'm talking about this. It's just, there's nothing to talk about. Because it's not very good. Like, the small story elements that they even have are just, they're not fully developed. Does anybody even understand why Reika's there?
Here's the thing, okay? I've told you, even I'm the first person that finished the show out of all of y'all, so I'm like, you know what? This, as you said, yeah, it's just a comedy. It's trying to be balls to the wall, antics, comedy, romantic, but the thin line of the plot is, yeah, so I guess we don't give a shit about spoilers in this review here, do we? So, yeah, the plot is, at the beginning and at the end, Reiko's point was an anime-only character, which she wasn't in the game, and she's a quote-unquote agent of fate who is destined to try and make it so Yusuke, because I watched the dub, and Midori won't get together in the worst possible ways possible because she can't fucking make it so they won't get together, and that was her point, and she fails. Yeah.
Part of it was that she actually did care about the two of them, but knew that ultimately if the two were to try and actually get in a relationship that would with each other, that would ultimately result in their suffering, and wanted to avoid that.
You're making the right points, but you're making it sound almost too deep for Green, even though that actually is the plot.
That's the thing.
I think the show tried to take itself seriously. We can't be together.
It shouldn't have.
We can't be together because if we are together, then we're gonna be suffering, and history will repeat itself. Oh, I fell down a cliff. Well, shit. I guess history did repeat itself, didn't it?
Can I just mini rant about the talking about plot that's built on a shoestring is the whole backstory of these reincarnated lovers who were in love. But because it was ancient times, their love was forbidden, which makes no fucking sense. There's no background to it. It's unnecessary, and it's not even mentioned. Like, where were they living at? Why was it forbidden? We don't fucking have a clue, but it was ancient times, so clearly it was forbidden. Oh my god, are you invested? I'm fucking invested. A+ writing, Green.
This is the angriest I have ever heard Cammy.
But I mean, she has a valid point.
I mean, she does. I'm
Like-
I'm just amazed because I've never heard this before. This is what I caused. Or what
It's
Sent
refreshing.
from my iPhone caused.
It's refreshing, Dom. Thank you.
I'm glad I got you to let out some steam over this terrible anime.
You see, Cammy just keeps a lot of her built-up anger inside, I feel, because she's just a cinnamon roll who doesn't want to force her anger on others. Green broke Cammy.
Slightly.
Green broke that barrier.
Let's reword that. Green freed Cammy.
No!
Wait, what the fuck?
It opened her mind. It opened
Oh
her
my
mind
god.
so much.
What the fuck?
But no, like, it's true. Like, why couldn't they be together? Also, like, it's like, if they were two girls, maybe it would make more sense to me, or two guys, because of course in traditional times, old times, that might have been weird. But also, that kind of topic wouldn't have been tackled in early 2000s.
Yeah, and there's just there's no investment in what's going on. Like, you don't care about them getting back together because there's no history or no reason for it. So it just makes Midori that much more annoying for, like, how pushy she is to Yusuke.
Oh, Midori is just so fucking annoying. But that's also a thing. It's like the entire show is like her trying to get him to pay attention to her. And then he's just like really nice to everybody, including the people who are sexually harassing people the entire show. But he's a total dick to her.
Oh, yeah.
Which, to be fair, I mean, if I was
Yeah.
constantly being followed by some girl who was telling me that we were destined and that she was coming from the future or something, I'd also be like, maybe I should keep a few steps away from this crazy person. But all of it's just so weirdly paced and presented. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And then, they trip, they kiss. Now he loves her.
Yep.
They unlocked my memories.
Oh my god! Me kissing her unlocked my memories. Oh, you should have told us that's how it would have been done sooner.
They don't even show us any memories. All they did was reverse the clip of their
Yeah,
silhouettes
they
kissing that's
did.
in the intro of every episode.
They did. It's like I can't pretend to understand what the game is like, but I feel as though they're just like, oh shit, we need to actually like force the conclusion of the game into this anime right now. Okay, yeah, I guess we got like 3 episodes.
This show was not made to sell a romance plot to
Yeah.
pretty much anyone. It was made for the stupid jokes.
Yep.
That was the purpose. And then they got to the end and they were like, we can't end on stupid jokes. We
But they
have to do
did.
something.
But they did.
Oh, I mean, they can't end entirely on stupid jokes. They had to do something.
I, for one, feel like they totally could have ended on the episode where they're locked in the gym room and then they lived happily ever after.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Those guys deserve each other. Speaking of those guys, how about we transition to characters?
Oh, you want to transition to characters?
I mean, we might as well, or we're just going to keep ranting about, like, Green Green in broad terms forever, because
Yeah.
that's what you have to do in the story section for Green Green. You just have to bring up all of the gripes that you have about the show in general.
I think
When
that's
it's not
gonna be
really
every
story.
section, but we can
Yeah,
transition
basically.
to characters.
But I think that I can be a little bit more specific in characters,
Okay.
because, oh boy.
All right, what do you wanna get cracking at?
Okay, well, for one thing, they display that Yusuke is supposed to be the main character, and like I mentioned earlier, he's not. The main characters are the idiot trio that constantly sexually harass every single girl in the school. They do beautifully disgusting things like breaking into a girl's room at night, sniffing them, eat rice, and then sniff their hair while they're unaware that they're even there.
And then climb into bed with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. They force a girl to remove her clothes so they can try and get a boob imprint at one point.
They do.
They break into the sauna or the bathhouse, and then the girl that is trying to defend them is forced to be put in a situation. That's actually where I stopped caring about Green Green, which sucks because that was episode 2. Like, I was just out by them because they purposely put this girl in a situation where she can be ogled by all of these guys just so she can defend herself when all of the guys were in the wrong in the first place. So it's frustrating, especially because there's no, like, they don't ever get punished for what they do. And I guess that's the joke, but that's a bad joke.
The only punishment is that they get beat up by the one girl, and then that becomes a fetish for the one guy. So it's not even a punishment for him in the end.
Yeah.
So like those 3 characters, that's all they are. They're sexual harassment, the character, as one big blob unit. And then all the other characters are just there to either be sexually harassed by them or for the blame to be passed on to, which is normally Yusuke. He's the scapegoat. That's his character. That's all he is. And then all of the girls are just there to be sex objects, and that's it. There's nothing here that is of any substance.
Yeah. Basically, like, so I didn't realize the 3 guys were called the Idiot Trio. My name for them became the 3 Neckbeards. And while the
that's
3
fair.
Neckbeards are what make the anime, I guess, memorable for better or worse, they're completely what made the show terrible for me. It could be argued, like, which of them is the grossest out of the 3 Neckbeards, but for me, I think Tenjin was the one,
Tenjin.
like, his brand of perversion that combined a
Tenjin's
little
the worst.
sister fetish, sniffing said little sister, and aggressively eating rice in tandem with the growth of his arousal is something that I found really uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And I was disgusted every time he was on screen. But to wrap things up about them all, usually about halfway through every episode, I wanted to chop their dicks off slowly in excruciating and torturous detail.
Damn.
Oh my god.
gosh.
Damn.
I mean, damn, girl.
We have destroyed the cinnamon roll. This is
warning,
no longer a
warning,
cinnamon
halfway through the episode, this is going to be an explicit episode of our podcast, because we're an explicit podcast.
Oh. We are an explicit podcast. I honestly thought the, like, short, fat dude was the worst.
Yeah, I think Bachigu, like, arguably is the worst.
I think that the blonde Ichiban whatever.
Hikaru Ichiban Boshi.
Yeah,
I need
he
to chime in to
Yes.
say that his name literally means number one shining star and is the greatest name an anime character has ever been given.
I think that he is probably the least awful, but he's still literally the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're just horrible human beings. Like, there's nothing for me to latch on with them, which sucks because they're what the show relies on for gags and laughs, and it's not funny. Ah!
I think I described him as like the extreme perverted version of like the Three Stooges. They're trying to be like, oh, we're dumbasses and we wind up getting all these shenanigans, but we're also horrible, like, pervs and very lewd. And oh god, I do agree with all the points. Like, I laugh at them, but just more for, like, maybe it's just their portrayal or their performances in the dub for me, where it's just like, oh my god, just knowing that all these guys went on to do bigger and better things eventually, Jesus Christ, this show is something else.
It's like they took Mineta from My Hero Academia, made
Yep.
3 of him, and had them all play off of each other.
It is. Oh god, it is.
That's like Bachigu as a nutshell, 10 times of Mineta right there.
Yeah.
For all you modern anime fans.
Yeah, y'all think Mineta is bad. Go back and watch Green Green.
With a splash of tension.
Mineta's an angel compared to these. At least Mineta never gets what he wants. These
That's
3
true.
constantly get what they want and get away with it.
You see, I like School Days, but I know a lot of people don't like School Days, and I can understand why. And the main problem with it is Makoto. The main guy plays a bunch of girls, has sex with a bunch of girls, lies to a bunch of girls. But at least he's a fucking character.
Yeah.
I literally found more detestable men than Makoto in School Days. I never thought I would ever say that. But they are the worst characters I have ever had to experience.
Does Makoto have an arc?
The worst. Makoto has a huge arc.
Yeah.
And he's an asshole, but he's a character. His whole arc is him becoming an asshole, really.
Yeah, you could argue. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, he is more of a... Compared to these guys, he's great. He's boyfriend of the year. These guys suck.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about the girls at some point too.
Yeah.
What little character they
There's
have.
Not a whole lot to talk about.
I think
There
but-
really isn't. That's the
but-
point I was trying to make. Like, literally, we could sit here and probably talk about the idiot trio for like 3 hours.
That's because they're
The crux of the show.
The crux of
The crux.
I was gonna say the meat of the show, but
Ew.
that's an insult to meat. I didn't mean it in that way.
Ew.
I didn't mean it in that way. But yeah, crux is a better word.
This show is triggering Cass's cough so hard.
It really is, because I'm getting angry and my throat's tightening up and I just cough. I don't think I'm as mad as Cammy, though. I think
Cammy is I've been sensing this over like the entire time the show has been like on our palate. Like Cammy's just steady like increase and just being fucking pissed about Green Green. And I'm just like, God, I wonder if she hates me now.
No, I could not. You are great, Dom.
I mean, I wonder if she hates Sent from my iPhone.
I don't hate Sent from my iPhone either, because Sent from my iPhone has given us some of the greatest like podcast discourse we've ever had.
Yeah, it's true.
I think I just knew how bad this was. I hadn't seen it, but I've like heard people talk about reviews of it when I was in high school, and I hung out with like the other like weeb social reject gang of kids that I hung out with in high school. All of the boys that were like, I don't know, into anime titties and stuff were like, green, ha 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 ha. And so like, I think I just kind of knew what I was in for here.
The thing is, like, I went in knowing that apparently it was bad. I guess I was just like, it can't be that bad.
I think
I don't know.
everyone makes that mistake.
I have a thought. Is this the early 2000s version of To Love Ru?
But To Love Ru is good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a good ecchi show. If you're into ecchi shows, go watch To Love Ru.
Okay.
It's not my cup of tea, but I've heard that it's actually pretty good. I watched a few episodes. It was fun.
Huh.
The females are actually characters in that series to an
Yeah,
extent.
they do.
More
They
than
have
this
characters.
series.
Yeah.
They have arcs. Like, here's the thing. Like, you can have a very, like, basic, kind of, like, generic harem show. And whatever. If that's your cup of tea, great. Have a good time. Green is not a good, ecchi harem show. It's just... There's specific tropes that you expect in specific things. Like,
yeah, Green isn't a good show. It's a show where a man gets raped by a bear.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
I love that scene. God damn it.
When Cammy saw that, oh my god.
she screamed.
She screamed.
I
It was great.
I was clapping the entire time.
honestly wish I could have watched this entire show with Cammy because we watched the last 6 episodes together
Mhm.
in one sitting while we were drinking, and it was the most entertaining Green had ever been.
It was so much more fun watching the show with all of you. Like, and I do think, look, if you're going to subject yourself to watching Green, watch it with a bunch of friends. If you are going to subject yourself to that.
And if you're into it and okay with it, probably either really drunk or really high or both.
Yeah.
But if you're not in that, at least get the high off of being with friends.
Yeah. Because it's based on your reactions, you know, and everybody tends to get more reactionary when they're in good company, and then you bounce off of each other's reactions. Like, that is kind of where Green, I wouldn't even say shines, but like does its job, I guess.
This is the funny thing is because when me and Cassie were watching it, like just me and her, because we watched the first 6 episodes where it was just me and her, and it was like I had already seen it, so I was just kind of sitting there like looking back every so often at Cassie, and she would just have the most stone cold like I fucking hate this look on her face.
So
like
mad.
She was so pissed. And I would just feel bad after every episode, like, God damn.
It was okay because I was the person on the other side of the room, like, I'm gonna pick you up, Dom. I watched those episodes too. They're so good, right? And you're like, yeah, fist bump.
And me and Craig would just laugh about things, like, nonchalantly, and just, like, Cassie was just so upset, and I was like, so when she was like, oh, we're gonna watch it with Cassie, I was like, we're gonna watch it with Cammy, I was like, thank God. Someone else can, like, come in and relate to what she's feeling, because I'm just like, the first time I watched this, I thought it was really bad, and there were parts that I had heard about that made me, like, laugh in a, like, nervous, kind of like, this is awful, but I'm gonna laugh at it because laughing at things makes me feel better than being mad at them. Which is still why I still laugh at Green, because laughing at it makes me feel better. So, but this time it was like I've gotten older. I watched it when I first started college. So this time it's like I've gotten older, and it's like now I'm like I'm a more mature person.
Yeah.
So now I'm still laughing at these things, but on the inside I'm just like, oh, this is actually like bad.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, I feel like Green, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, but Green is for an audience that either has a very specific sense of humor,
Very bad sense of humor,
or a younger crowd. Because I could see a 12-year-old watching the series and finding it hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, I don't know. I don't think that it's something I'd want my impressionable little munchkin to be watching, but...
Oh, yeah, there's boobies in it. They can't watch it.
No, there's anime titties. No.
Yeah, there's titties. They can't watch it.
Listen, I'm not Tumblr. I'm not gonna, censor female-presenting nipples.
Yes.
I mean, that's fair. But what about Bachigu's nipples? You don't want to show your 12-year-old.
Oh god, you're right.
I think those are worse than female presenting nipples.
They
They
are.
are.
They are.
That's just another issue. I don't like already how anime already has this occasional thing of let's take the overweight character and make fun of them. And it's so exploited in here as well.
Oh, yeah.
For just reason, fuck
Yeah.
him, but I hate that it comes down to oh, it's the fat one, that anime needs to knock that off already.
The
And-
fat, gross, slimy guy that looks like he needs a shower, but he's like,
this show didn't do it any
"Oh,
favors.
oh, I'm fat and my tits. I'm like, whoa, dude.
There's a lot of early 2000s cringe culture in this.
Yep.
Yeah, speaking of, the other one that comes to mind is the Fujo girl.
Oh
Yeah.
And how
completely.
it dogs on her. Because, the whole joke is oh, she's so unattractive that even the guys who are, so desperate for female attention don't want anything to do with her. And it's really, at the end of the day, she's really not that much worse looking than any, she has different eyes. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And the show, dogs on her so much for being so much, gross
Yeah.
in comparison to all the other girls just because she is, a Fujoshi.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real, if she didn't have her glasses on, her and Bachigu would have hooked up anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. There's a lot of emphasis put on what is attractive and what isn't. They also tend to lean. I don't even know if we're even talking about characters anymore. Let's just talk about Green. There is no categories.
Yeah.
They also like to do these really weird, gross shots on purpose.
Yeah.
One that's stuck in my mind. Maybe this is production. I don't even.
That sounds
fucking
like
know
production.
anymore.
We can segue
Let's
into
just-
production.
Let's just dump around. But there is a shot where they all dress up in female
Oh,
clothing, the
God.
Baka trio.
Mhm.
And there's when they go on Bachigu, they purposely do a close-up of his crotch. And it's so gross. And then they turn around the other dude and they show his butt cheeks flapping in the wind as
Yeah.
if and I can look at it and be oh, if this was trying to be progressive, which dear God it's not, maybe it's showing, oh, these are the parts of women that they like to focus on, the crotch shots and the booties, and oh, it's one big parody. No. But it's just horribly done. It looks bad.
Do you want to know some production facts about this? Staff-wise, anyways?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm honestly really surprised you dove this far in, Craig, and I applaud you for it. But yeah, you should
Sure.
hit us with that.
Yuji Muto was the director of the show. He directed Crown Shinchan. So if you want more crass ass shows, go
Crass
there's your show. This show didn't have a head writer. It actually had 3 writers, 3 episode directors, and several storyboard artists. The head director was also a writer and storyboard artist. So like I said, there's 3 writers, and the most notable of them is Yuki Inatsu, who's the series composition for Pokemon X and Y and Diamond and Pearl.
The fuck?
And yeah, that's weird, right?
What a strange transition.
Yeah,
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
It's true.
the music, which I was telling you guys when you were watching, I was like, man, maybe they just ripped this straight out of the game. Couldn't tell you, but the composition, the head guy on that is Shinkichi Mitsume, which did Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains and all the music for Familiar of Zero.
Huh.
Honestly, the only song that I even liked was kind of the opening, and it was just kind of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else, and the sound production in the show was weird too. If we're sticking on that for a couple of seconds,
Yeah.
there were some really weird noises they used.
Mm-hmm.
I just whenever they did that thing where something was supposed to be sexy or something, and you'd have that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be real though. They use that sound effect even nowadays. Fairy Tail uses
Oh, they do.
They do.
totally
Fairy Tail
do.
uses it
Mhm.
all the fucking time whenever they try to like be like, oh, you know that our characters in Fairy Tail are hot, right? Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, they're just banking on all of the stock like production sound effects they can get. Because I mean, let's be real, the show had no budget.
Oh God, no.
No.
There was like really strange boinging noises
Yeah.
a lot of the time. I don't know, but like going back to my earlier thing before Craig went on his spiel, like maybe we could just sit here and talk about all the gross shots.
Oof.
Excuse me, that we found disgusting
CG crying.
in the show. CJ crying. I already mentioned the close-ups of the boys' crotches and their booties.
Yeah.
In their female outfits.
What about the steam room?
The steam room. That was gross.
Was it Tenjin or who? One of them put their foot in the other's mouth, and I could not.
Oh, and he like sucked on his toe.
Foot
that was
fetish.
another
It was
part
like
where
this-
I
it was-
screamed. I could not.
It was like the close up, and he's just
Ugh.
like just
Enjoying it.
He was going down.
He was
on that
enjoying
throat.
it.
Eat it. That's the gross part.
Yeah.
Just.
Ugh.
Mm.
Oh man.
There's another scene where they're just kind of like having casual conversation too, and Tenjin's face just morphs really weird.
Oh yeah.
'Cause,
Oh yeah.
It gets really
like there's
bad.
some weird faces they put specifically on that character because I think they're trying to make him seem like a really dumb gorilla or something.
Basically.
Yeah.
So they make him make like gorilla like faces and just really gross stuff.
The scene where they first broke into the bath while the girls
Oh,
were in it, and then
That was when they were eating or like drinking the bath water, right?
that
Because,
yeah,
like,
the
girls
scene
had
where he
been
like
previously.
inhales
Oh,
the
man.
bath water,
Ugh.
and you see it like drop several levels,
Yeah.
and just.
Can I just say, I didn't really realize it upon my first watching. Maybe I wasn't really paying too close attention, but the second time when I was watching with you guys, I'm like, holy mother of God, Batman, Yusuke's eyes change color constantly. Like the models, his face changes constantly. Like not as bad as Tenjin's, but Yusuke's eyes is he a chameleon?
I mean, I think you have to be really paying attention to notice that, though. It's not
yeah,
as
I've
like
never
Yeah.
noticed it until you brought it up.
yeah. And they might have been just trying to do something like different with the different like locations he was at,
Ah.
but like yeah, I get that. Like they should have been more consistent with it. But compared to everything else, that wasn't like a glaring
Oh, yeah.
flaw to me. But they went off model a lot.
Mhm.
They really liked going off model with Tenjin.
Yeah.
And not always to comedic effect.
Yeah. I noticed they'd get off model with like Yusuke a lot too, especially more towards the back half when they did like these dramatic scenes and his eyes would be like super narrow and then they'd be like huge or off model. It was just a whole mess of a production. I can't.
I was actually the last of us to start watching this, and I also had the thought of, it can't be that bad, surely. And I couldn't even get 5 minutes into the first episode without pausing it and just being like, what the fuck is this?
John is the most forgiving person on this fucking podcast, and even he's like, please. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, lordy lord.
Please help me. There's no hope.
I am curious to know, John, your reactions on episode 13, the hentai resolve at some point.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch the episode 13 at some
Evolution.
point.
Okay,
It's on Pornhub.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's on Pornhub.
okay. Alright.
But I'm glad I brought in a show that was. Is this gonna be John's first burn it?
Ooh!
Is this-
Didn't he burn Yamibo?
He said objectively, but subjectively he liked it. I
so
listened to that.
first complete burn it? Is this one?
I feel like
What I did?
I feel like Cammy made a really good choice in saying we should just have Green should have its own category of just fuck it.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah.
That was a great idea. Actually, I think that was Get's idea.
That was Get's idea, yeah. Like, and I hadn't even told him anything about the show. Like, he just also apparently knew the reputation of Green, and he's like, Green should just have its own fuck it rating. Oh my god. So this is kind of a spoiler, but can I talk a little bit about that hentai OVA?
Sure.
Go
you sure
for
can.
Yeah, which was really fun. That was my not my first. I think it was maybe my second or third time watching porn together with friends. So that was great.
Was it awkward?
No, it was fun.
Not really. The sex scenes weren't that prolonged either.
Yeah, it was. The sex scene is really short.
Yeah, it's very tame in terms of a hentai, personally. It was my favorite episode of the show. I think part of that just goes into that the one line of characters, interactions, whatever, that I was even slightly interested in Green was just kind of Yusuke and Futaba's will they, won't they? Oh god, obviously you like each other, dumb shits. Which is resolved in here to a degree. And to quote this note that I sent Cassie, I like the hentai episode the most. The one small plot point I cared about was Yusuke and Futaba's dynamic. Seeing Yusuke eat Futaba's pussy out after 12 episodes of women being treated really shitty, it was cathartic in a strange way. Learn how to treat a girl right, damn it. Yeah,
It's true.
there was pussy licking. It was good. That was my takeaway from episode 13 of Green.
Damn.
So what we have learned...
That's gonna be the tagline for this episode. There was pussy licking. It was good.
I don't know if that could be the title.
No, that cannot be the
There wa-
title. No
you-
one will listen to it.
just star it out or something. I don't know. There was star asterisk.
Star licking.
There was asterisk licking. It was good. There you go.
It should just be a string of star asterisks. That's the title of this episode.
But Cammy has a really good point. In 12 episodes of objectifying women, when the one guy actually got some, the first thing he did was actually do something for the woman.
Exactly.
Thanks. Thanks, Green. Thanks for giving us one.
Exactly. Especially the way the
In
rest
the
of that scene
porn
played out.
episode.
Ultimate irony, if the Baka trio ever did get laid, they'd be perfect gentlemen in bed.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
We
nah.
almost got a sex scene with one of them, and he was not a gentleman.
Yeah.
Listen, that's Bachiku. I mean, he's gross to begin with.
I mean,
They're all gross!
I mean, let's.
What about
be
Ichiban?
fair. Ichiban Boshi, he's got that sick toe licking, experience. Now.
God.
I mean, if
he knows how to go down on some toe. He
if
knows.
somebody has a foot fetish, that's great for him.
So he's a
I have
masochist
so
and he's
many
into feet.
headcanons about him now. He just goes on to random he resorts to going onto random fetish sites and finding someone with the same fetishes, so at least he has somebody to talk to about, and that's how he gets a girlfriend.
You know
I
what?
mean,
Yeah.
whatever works for him.
And there is nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No.
But I feel like that's how he's gonna get a girlfriend.
I mean, he'd probably also write them a post-coital love song, and that's fine. His love song,
Post-coital love song.
his love song, by the way, that was played over speaker was the one moment in the show that I laughed.
Oh yeah, you did laugh at
All
that.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I laughed at
Ichiban
that.
Boshi is the one time they genuinely laughed. I was like, yep.
They got
Yeah,
him.
That was
They
your
got
argument
him.
for best
you got
boy.
him. You got him.
I mean, statistically speaking, every squirrel finds a nut someday.
Oof.
Oof.
God, I don't we've been talking for almost an hour and we have so much more time, but I don't even know where to go.
Do you
There's so
wanna-
much more I could talk about.
Do you want? Is it important, or do you want to go to ratings?
I mean, I feel like how about we go to ratings and then we can have a small spoiler room.
Are
or
you sure?
something
Because we've
where we go into,
we've already
spoilers.
spoiled stuff.
Yeah, we've spoiled most.
It's
of the
just
show,
the after
unless-
party talk. That's all.
Okay, fine. We can do ratings, then we can just do random after party talk, which has been the entire episode anyway.
Okay. All right. So yeah, what's how
So
who's-
Dom,
what's the
as
order?
the host, you have administrative power to set our order of who has to rate. You hold all the power now.
And since you're such good friends with Sent from My iPhone, you can go last since you
Yeah.
didn't actually request this, quote unquote.
I
but
didn't.
No,
No,
You
clearly
can
not.
be
I
there.
I would never force my wonderful friends to watch the show. I would never do that.
Oh,
No.
of course not.
Not that you were forced. You had many opportunities to back out. I'm just saying, but so I'm just saying you had many opportunities. No one said hey, don't want to do this. So, anyways, let's start with Cammy since she seems the most pissed off.
Okay. I don't really have much to say as a takeaway. Green is a show that I would like to soon forget, have it bleached from my brain, and never be mentioned again upon the lips of which I speak. Green, though, however, that I want it to disappear, the legacy of watching it super smashed with a lot of my good friends and the rage that was palpable between both Cassie and I, and John, I know in spirit, was also feeling the same way. Those feelings shall never be forgotten. So thank you, Green, for what you gave us. May you never give us any more. And may you burn in the pits of shit tier anime hell.
Damn.
Oh, damn. All right.
Standing ovation.
So on the other side of the pond, I'm gonna give it over to Craig as the only other person who probably got some sort of like sick enjoyment out of this. What's your final take, Craig?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I've come to you all to give you my hot takes on the seminal anime in 2003, Green. As Dom has mentioned, I am a degenerate and a awful human being. I went even harder with this show than I needed to when I went with the dub. Cammy actually, the other day when we all watched this, she says, Craig, you're not allowed to give me crap for liking the Utena dub. You know what? And to that, I say that's very fair, considering I've watched dubs that are probably far worse. Hi, my Hime, and probably now, hi, Green. Bachiku's dub voice actor, I don't think he's done anything ever since this show, and for good reason. But in a weird sense, I got a weird sick enjoyment out of the show because it's so bad. It's like so bad. You know it's bad. But I feel as though I never really wasted my time with this show. It is a waste of time, but it was an enjoyable waste of time. So in this weird, dark void of time that I spent into this show, I'll say, as a modern art piece, it is only for the select few, so commoners, you can skip the show, because I have done the deed for you. My words alone shall say, skip the show. This episode alone is enough.
Yes. You thought it was going to be a unanimous burn it. You thought it was going to be a... You thought it was going to be a unanimous burn it. Craig.
Death to skip it, which is a fucking masterpiece in comparison. All right, proceed.
Yeah, it's whatever. This is all just one big troll. I don't even care anymore.
Let's throw it over to John. John, what is your final take on Green?
The last few episodes weren't as bad as the start, but 2 or 3 episodes of okay and a dumb, bittersweet ending do not make up for the first 2/3 of terrible you have to slog through to get to. And I haven't even seen the apparent greatest episode of this series.
Oh,
yeah,
the climax of the entire series.
Because I didn't know it existed. And like, how have these three, the Baka trio, how have they not been arrested, tried for multiple acts of sexual assault, and been slapped with a restraining order forbidding them from being within 3 miles of anything female?
Bless.
I don't know. Fuck Green.
Is that your rating? Fuck.
Green. Are you gonna give it the fuck it, or is it?
I mean, the fuck it isn't a real thing.
But it can now for
Burn
this
it.
show alone.
Okay, so we gotta burn it.
Okay.
John knows the true gospel.
I mean, all right. So that leaves us. So Cassie, let's get your thoughts.
I would like to think that I've remained pretty calm throughout this episode, actually.
I mean, compared to Cammy, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've been doing really well. The show is an abomination, and it should not exist. I don't care what Craig or anybody else says. The show is not funny. There is no actual enjoyment to be had here. All enjoyment that is had is at the expense of somebody else. The only reason that Green is fun is to watch other people suffer. That's it. That's the fun you get from it. And if that's your cup of tea, you still shouldn't watch it. Even Craig gave it a skip it. So it's just, there's no story. The character designs are terrible. The music isn't good. It promotes sexual assault and women as sex objects. It's not funny. And if you even could turn your brain off for 5 minutes, it's still gross. Most of the humor is based on things that are just totally disgusting. For a romantic comedy, it has no romance. The comedy isn't funny, again. And I wish that I had never seen this. But I can wear this shining star of that I at least tried.
Is it the number one shining star?
The number one shining star that I at least tried. I like to think of this as a podcast initiation 2 years later. So, thank you, sent from my iPhone, for making me feel like I'm being hazed in my first year in college. I'm glad that I had this experience, and I hope I never have it again. And I cannot actually wait to watch Uzumade, because it's going to look great in comparison to this.
Okay.
Please burn this in the fiery pits of hell.
Oh, they're both terrible brands of bad.
Double standing ovation.
So I guess that leaves it back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched this back in the day. So this is my second time watching it. I would say that, this is Green is quite frankly a really bad show.
Oh yeah.
It is awful. You shouldn't watch it. However,
Okay.
it's the only show where someone gets raped by a bear.
What show has
Quite
ever
frankly,
done this?
Actually, I can recommend you a show where it's actually good and somebody also gets raped by a bear. It's called Yuriku Marashi.
Oh, that's a good pull.
That's not a real bear.
Oh!
They are bears.
They're
real bears.
That's an anime girl with bear
No, they're really bears.
They apparently transform.
They transform into bears, and then
It's never on screen though.
It's never on screen,
Okay,
but it's
so
there.
it's all right. It's the only anime with on-screen rape by an actual bear.
Yeah.
So, in that regard, it is totally something you should consider, but ultimately it's a burn it because it's really bad. But the bear rape gives it a very strong argument to at least watch to episode 9. I mean,
Or at least watch episode 9 by itself.
Or just watch a clip on YouTube.
Or no, here's what you do: watch episode 6, then watch episode 9.
yeah,
You're
but
done.
you have to have all that context. You
do.
gotta
All the context of he's an awful person, so this is hilarious that it's happening to him. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
yeah.
Just desserts, Cass. Just desserts.
I would never wish rape on anybody, but I found a dark side of me today that, or not just today, but in watching Green, where kind of like how Cammie said she could wishes she could very slowly saw off each of their dicks. I kind of wish that they would have just been kidnapped and made sex slaves by bears. Yeah.
So we're all in agreement that the bear rape was good.
I mean, it was just...
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was cathartic.
It was a good, very good.
Yes.
It was
In
very
a very-
cathartic.
Yes.
In a very weird way. Also, this is a joke. I don't actually want people to be raped, but God, those people were awful. But anyway, you have a recommendation for us, correct?
Yeah, I'm just so glad we reached that
We all
that
We
The
all
consensus.
That
I mean-
consensus. Oh, thank God. Anyways, yeah. So, since this was sent from my iPhone's pick or request,
Mhm.
I'm the one who is tasked with giving a recommendation. If for some reason you like Green Green, like legitimately, which I'm a little concerned about you. But, or if you're like, I've seen that, but I would like something that is maybe in the same vein, but not shitty. My recommendation would be Prison School, which came out, I believe, in 2015 or 16. Which is also a, like, it's got like romantic elements to it, but it's a comedy about a bunch of really stupid dudes, going out of their way. A bunch of stupid dudes who are also very like they all have their own like perverted quirks, and there's a set of girls that are basically going against them, and there's a bunch of hijinks surrounding that. I like Prison School. I particularly also really like the manga. I'm a big fan of how it uses its ridiculous like antics that are going on, combined with a like sort of stone cold, like serious, like atmosphere to sell the jokes. So I recommend that show. I don't think it's for everyone. For example, I don't think Cassie would like it. But I do think Craig would really like it.
I'm a degenerate though, so let's be real.
I mean, that's but I think it also has like good art in comparison. It has the comparison to Green Green as well as other things. So that is my recommendation. If for some reason you are like, oh, I want something like Green Green, but not awful and just a complete cesspool.
You were correct. It came out in 2015, and it is good because it is JC Staff.
Oh yeah, JC Staff did do the adaptation. Yeah,
Yep.
Same people who did Angels of Death.
I mean, they have quite
They've
a few.
hit
They
and
have
misses.
they have quite a few stinkers. Yeah, I think the adaptation for Prison School is pretty good as someone who's read both the manga and watched the anime.
I've heard good things about Prison School. I have a few friends who are really into it, so
Yeah.
oh jeez. I didn't even get as angry as I thought I was going to be, but I'm somehow exhausted.
I mean, Cammy nailed down the anger for the very first time. I think someone else has gotten just way more pissed than you.
I think that I did a really good job of venting my frustration as I was watching it. Like, Green Green forced me to get angry in the moment. Like, there was one time when we were watching an episode, I think it was like episode 4 or something, and after we watched it, I just got up and started cleaning.
I remember this.
Because I just needed to vent my frustration somehow, and I didn't want to do it negatively, so I tried to do it positively by cleaning. I literally had to get up and move so I could just stop feeling disgusting.
This is a good way to
This
is a new strategy for me to get our room clean, is to show Cassie bad anime.
Yep.
Or you could just help me clean the room.
Get her to clean the house. Show her something awful.
God damn. It's kind of like last night I had to edit something, and this is a complete side story, but I went and like did the dishes and my laundry just so I could avoid actually doing what I had to do. I feel
that a lot.
I think that's something a lot of people do when they just don't want to actually do what they're supposed to be doing. They do something else that's productive, like cleaning, so you can feel at least a little good about yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's another thing. I never felt good about myself watching Green Green. I was like, I can't take anything positive from this. Except for maybe that everything else looks really great in comparison.
Yeah, now you'll be less critical.
Angry.
Darling in the
go.
Franxx is a 10 out of 10.
I mean, it isn't, but
It is
No.
compared to Green Green.
I mean, compared to Green Green, yeah, you have to add that little part in at the end.
Oh, yikes.
Oh, we always have to have the disclaimer compared to Green.
Compared to
Compared
Green Green, yeah.
Green. This show is worse than Yamibo.
How?
I didn't watch that, so
Like, I would think they're both. I think they're both bad. I think they're both shit. I
think they're both bad, and I think they're both terrible, but at least Yamibo took a couple episodes to not objectify women.
I was not made as physically uncomfortable consistently by Yamibo, and I think for me, like, the importance of that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Yamibo was just annoying. Like,
Yeah.
Yamibo was an annoying watch. Like, this show was just bad, and it made me feel gross and angry.
it's weird because, like, I feel as though, and when I'm reflecting on Yamibo, I'm like, man, that show tried to take itself way too seriously. This show didn't take itself
Yeah.
seriously at all. Like,
Yes, it did.
well, at the end it did.
It did at the beginning and it did at the end, and they also had some pointless drama in the middle occasionally. Like, that's
Yeah.
the thing, like, it would go back and forth, and then, like, right after, like, a cute, touching scene, like, when Yusuke saved, Futaba, they would, like,
yeah.
like, a few minutes after that scene happened, they put the three idiots, like, right in front of your face again to remind you.
It's like
Hey,
total whiplash,
You-
right?
It's like, you feel like you're
Yeah.
having a good time? Well, don't worry, we'll make sure that never actually happens.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a comment that you wanted to make, John? Something about Vandred?
Yeah, as I was watching it, the whole thing about part of what's not mentioned in the synopsis is that the implication is that the two schools are not only completely secluded from each other, but the girls at it kind of implies that the girls have had no interaction with males at all, and same for the boys, have no interaction with anything female before at all. And that kind of reminded me of Vandred, where the setting of that is so many years into the future, a war has actually driven humanity to be so that it is divided into males and females, like completely, almost like two separate races from each other, which therefore means that everyone is default gay in that series. But and that actually ends up being a, like, as cheesy as it is, and as much as that just ends up being a setup for the harem that it ends up being, it still handles it better than Green did.
Because they're not thirsty as fuck to get laid?
No, because it starts off with the men terrified of the women.
That's fair.
It is three men. Is it 3 or 4? 3 or 4 men trapped on a spaceship full of women, and they are terrified because they have spent their entire lives thinking of women as these evil monsters that they have to fight.
Huh.
And here's ones that are like, yeah, you're our prisoners now. You're our prisoners of war.
Huh.
And then they are like, actually, you can actually do work around the ship and help us out if you're gonna be here. And then, okay, you're not that bad. And eventually builds up to them being trusted and part of the crew, and actual relationships develop as a result.
I think that's another problem with Green is they never actually take the time to, like, build the friendships or the actual connections between characters, which, to be fair, it's not a that's too deep show, but I don't understand why Yusuke was still friends with these people. Like, he even has this, like, moment.
Exactly.
Like, one of the parts that actually pissed me off the most was when they did something really gross, and he, like, defended them and was like, yeah, they make really bad decisions, but they're trying their best. And I'm like, fuck you. No, they're not. They are not trying to respect these women. They're not even trying to understand them. Don't do this, Yusuke. Don't fucking try to do this.
The flip side of that is when he finally, like, gets his memories back.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Midori is his quote-unquote girlfriend for, like,
5 minutes.
5 minutes. The three idiots, like, are immediately like, oh, you have a girlfriend now.
You
don't care
changed,
about
man.
us. You changed, man. And then, they stop being his friend. And it's like, damn.
And then he gets moody that he's no longer friends with them, and I actually screamed at the screen, you are better off without them! Fuck them!
And the fact that, like, they get mad when he's going to be in a healthy relationship and treat somebody right, and they act like that's a problem.
Because
like,
they're not getting laid, man.
Like, they have this conversation, like, the idiot trio have this stupid conversation when they're like, dude, like, when you get a girlfriend, would you choose your friends or your girlfriend? And I think I, like, yelled, like, if it's a good relationship, you won't have to.
Yeah.
Like, don't play this right now.
The worst part about it
Yeah.
is that there's people who are actually like that.
There are
Yeah.
awful people out there that are like, oh, you got a girlfriend now, or you have a boyfriend now, or you have a significant other, whatever you want to refer to yourself in your relationship as. They'll be like, oh, you changed because you have your attention directed at somebody else for more than 5 minutes. And it's like, it's really toxic. And I hate when like
Mhm.
friendships turn out that way. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
kudos to Green Green for kind of being realistic and making them even more asshole-ish than they already were.
But hey, they're coming at the end of episode 13. What are you talking about? You didn't get a girlfriend yourself.
Also, it took me a few minutes to realize in the hentai episodes that the ice sculptures were being filled with cum, and that
Wait,
that
what?
haunted me last night. If you
Well, it's more implied that it's the ink they use to camouflage themselves, but you could also
Yeah.
infer that maybe because they ejaculate when they're in the
Yeah.
well, no, I'm talking about in the hentai episode when they
Oh.
have the girl
ice sculptures.
ice sculptures. There's a part where they're sitting there like obviously fucking the sculptures, and the sculpture starts to turn white.
they ejaculate.
Oh.
And I didn't notice that, and I thought about it last night for a few minutes because I was like, that was a really weird animation choice. And then I thought about it, and I was like, that is disgusting. How are they not freezing their tongues and their dicks off?
That too, yeah. That too.
Didn't they like ejaculate into a rock or something?
Yes,
too?
they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Mhm.
That's what I was mentioning.
That's what you. And then like the one guy was so like proud of himself because he could like, I don't know, like masturbate 13 times in a row, and he had a bunch of scabs on his hands.
It's like 26
Oh,
times
yeah,
a
that
day.
was in the first episode.
That was
Ugh.
gross.
Yeah, he had calluses on his hands.
Let's not forget, like in that recap episode, which, by the way, why did this show need
Yeah,
one?
recap.
All the girls get together. They're like, "Good job, we're gonna drink milk." And then Wakaba, she's like, "Okay,
Oh.
I'm going to drink the milk and then spit it on my, like,
Oh,
seductively on my cactus." I'm like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is going above and beyond gross, guys. Just be porn. Just be porn."
Yeah, like, and even when
Commit.
it was porn, it was less, like, kinky and disgusting than everything in the show. Like, the actual porn was so vanilla and, like, safe.
Like for the porn, it actually had two types of censoring on it. Didn't show penetration at all, so it's just like that was very tame, very vanilla.
There were some gross moments. Like, I don't know about you guys, but if I pulled up to like where I was going to vacation with my friends and they had a bunch of naked fucking sculptures of me and my gal pals just chilling in front of the location we're
Yeah.
staying, I'd probably get right back in the car and leave.
Heck yeah.
I think they had just been desensitized to it by
But
then.
that's not okay.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying they probably got out the car and they were just like, "Oh, look at them, back up to
Yeah,
their
like
shitty
that stupid-
antics."
Like that stupid scene at the end of the last episode where they're like running after the bus and they're like, you're so silly. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'd be like, crank it, bus driver. Jesus, get us out of here.
My comment when we were watching that episode and the porn episode was, "Man, I'm surprised that they just don't knock them over. Why are they there?" Like, Cammy, you pointed out the fact that Futaba and Yusuke run like from the dorms back to those ice sculptures. Why? We don't know. But they just catch their breath there and they're just like, "Oh yeah, thanks for sending me that letter. We're gonna have a serious relationship conversation in front of my porn statue of myself. Oh damn, look it's modeled creepily well for whatever reason, but we're gonna talk anyway."
Also, how does
Yeah.
everybody feel about Futaba winning by default?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, it was the most natural fucking relationship in the entire show, despite Yusuke kind of being a dick to her.
But I wish Yusuke would have picked her himself. Like, instead of,
Yeah.
oh, I guess my dead girlfriend, or, well, not dead now, but I'm glad that my girlfriend's gone now. I guess I'll go with this one.
It was also really weird in the OVA after they had sex. You like see her little silhouette, and just because she's like been there the whole time.
And she's just chilling, watching them go at it.
Yeah, that was sketch as hell, man.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
We're
John. No, it's a trip.
We're ruining the entire OVA for you. But you should totally watch it. Also, you gotta love that it ends on a "oh, you came too quick" joke. Real classy.
Yeah, it's really bad.
See?
It's really fucking
Even
bad.
more important that he ate her out first, because like he wasn't gonna give her service otherwise.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it's true.
But yeah, it. Great. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Does anybody have any closing thoughts?
No, I think we covered just about everything.
I'm gonna go watch Prison School and discover the answer to the greatest question.
You should.
I'm just
we
really
can bond.
pissed.
We can bond over Prison School.
I'm just really pissed this show didn't get a unanimous burn it. I actually feel
thanks,
angry.
Craig.
I'm so
Wow.
happy. Thank you, Craig.
Even
Dumb.
Dominic gave it a burn it.
Dumb, I'm honestly surprised
Yeah.
you didn't skip it.
I was gonna burn it from the get go, but I'm just so glad you didn't, because Cassie was so like.
Oh, you felt
Confident.
pressured. You were going to
She was so-
die.
No, I didn't pressure.
No. She didn't pressure me or anything. It's just she was so confident that it was gonna get a unanimous burn it. And
Well,
I was
because
like,
Craig gave a Yamibo a burn it, and like this show is
Let's be
way
real.
worse.
Let's be real. They're both that bad.
Then why didn't you give it the same rating?
because he probably just enjoyed this more.
It's true.
Oh.
Personally, he probably just enjoyed.
This
I
show
applaud
does
you.
not deserve any kind of enjoyment.
No,
It is
no.
just terrible.
Oh no, and again, me and Dom are degenerates who actually laughed at this, but it's really bad. Again, me giving it a skip it is just on the equivalent of burn it.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
They're two different ratings for a reason.
No, they're both no.
Yeah.
No, in this case.
To Craig, they're the same thing.
Yes.
They're not the same thing.
If they're the same thing, Craig, then why didn't you just give it a burn it?
Wow, you both are mad.
Craig, why wouldn't you let me just burn their dicks off, okay?
You can.
Like,
Can I just laugh at Can I laugh at the prospect of you doing it though, and say I'll
Yes.
skip out on this and encounter?
Jesus Christ.
I'm just gonna be so salty for like the next week.
Thank you, Craig. You made her salty.
Like I wasn't salty enough.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for my Uzumate review, which you're gonna love, and
At
the Sultan's gonna come back.
At least Uzumate is well animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing in this show that makes it deserving of anything than a burn it. Nothing.
It has a character named Hikaru Ichibamboshi.
You're gonna die on that hill, aren't you?
Yeah, I will
Still gave it a burn it.
I will. Okay, but that was just like
In Dom's heart,
in my heart, it's at least a check it for the
yes.
bear rape and Hikaru Ichibamboshi, but objectively, it is a burn it.
I am so done here.
John.
I'm gonna
John.
die.
John, as someone who like has attachment to Yamibo, how do you feel personally about the fact that Craig gave Yamibo a burn it and gave Green a skip it?
I don't understand. I don't understand.
I haven't watched that show, but I get you, Craig. I get you. I feel you.
John, the most forgiving host on this entire show, is looking at Craig now and going,
Do you
I
want
don't
me to go
understand
back
you.
and retroactively fix
"No,
this?
you can't.
No.
Are you
can't.
sure?
No, don't.
It's been
don't,
recorded."
Don't do it. You don't need to. It's fine. I get you. I'm on your side, Craig.
The rest of us are just like, why? Why?
You did exactly
Same
what I needed you to do, Craig. You
You
performed.
gave- you-
performed splendidly.
Gave
This
Thank
is what they
you.
were scheming about, Cassie, when they were watching the dub in the other room.
That's true.
It's
like
all planned.
like you gave not Yamibo, you gave Green a bone, and I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for that.
Green, the only positive thing I can think of about Green is that it's a perfect example for anime studios out there everywhere for what not to do.
I was worried going into this episode, like, oh man, maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe I shouldn't have made this joke that we all could have just backed out on. But you know what? I'm glad we had this time. I'm glad we could spend this time together and just,
Yeah.
reflect
Yeah.
and have this discussion about Green. I'm glad, you know what? I'm glad Green
Exists.
brought us together like this.
Yeah.
We were
Yes.
together before.
I'm
this.
glad Green just, gave
Made us
us
closer.
this opportunity. Yeah, it made us closer.
Did it really?
Yes.
I think so. It made me and Craig closer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you two are the representation of the entirety of the group.
We're the degenerates of the group. Come on.
I mean, that's fair, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So is that
I
where
mean,
we...
unless anybody has any final thoughts, I think you can take us out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. So that
Fuck
is...
Green. Okay, now you can.
The new rating. Fuck Green.
reserved only for Green.
Reserved only for Green and...
Unless you're Craig and then it's, skip Green.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Fuck it rating. Only reserved for the worst of the worst. It's
I
below the
mean,
zero rating.
we could update the rating scale to have it just exclusively for Green.
Oh, jeez.
But, yeah, so that was our review of Green. This is the Annie Chatbox crew signing out. We hope you have a great day. And see you later.
Boy.
Bye-bye.
Don't ever watch this show. Don't do it.
Please don't.
Do it for bear rape.
I will pay you to not watch the show.
Do it for bear rape and Ichiban Boshi.
Ichiban Boshi.
Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. Only you can prevent green forest fires.
Wow.